Cool. I hope my screen is visible to you all. Let me start with our demo session today. Okay. Okay, guys. So first of all, I welcome you all for the Skill Inspirations Academy Python network automation training. And I hope you are here to learn something about automation. And I taken for granted that you have at least basic knowledge of network, how network work, and how the security devices is, right? So just the basic knowledge, what is IP address, what is subnet validations and all, right? So that's what the prerequisites of this course. And don't be worried about that if you are new to the Python or any of the programming language, if you are in myth that for jumping off this course, we should know C, C++, or any other programming language. So here we are covering Python first from the scratch. So network automation engineer can automate their network devices with whichever the condition will gonna come his or her behalf. Now, let's move ahead with the Python course now. So guys, if we look at Python network automation, always keep in mind there are two particular bifurcations of Python network developer and the Python developer. So what we can do is what Python developer does and what Python network developer, right? That what Python network developer does. Now we will see the difference. So the work of Python developer is to create the modules. Now, what is modules? That is a question. So modules are a set of codes, or you can say set of lines of codes, which can implement or which will be, let's take a realistic example. We all are using multiple applications in our mobile. So we are just the users of that application. We are not taking care of the development of that application. Same, the development of that application or development of that particular modules has been taken care by Python developers, right? So they are responsible to write almost 1,000 lines or 10,000 lines of code, right, for creating the module. Now, what is the use of Python network developer then? So being a network developer, what you need to do is you need to use this module, whatever the module that Python developer has created, and automate your network equipments. Because rather than Python developers, you are a whole and soul responsible for your network. You know a nut and bolt of your network infrastructure. So you just need to call, or you just need to use this module to automate your network devices. So that's the basic difference between Python developer and Python network developer, right? So I hope the difference is clear with you. Let's move ahead with the next slide. Now, this is something about me, guys. I have 8+ years of experience in network domain. Since last 3-4 years, I'm working as a network automation developer in the well-known industry. I did my certification in Python as well as CCNA. I did. It's like basic for network automation anywhere with the RPA, robotics process automation platform, the AWS, and the cybersecurity warrior certification I have just completed. Now, and since last 2-3 years, I'm giving network automation training to the network engineers who are really wanted to shift their career from purely network domain to the Python and network domain. One thing I just wanted to clear you guys, in the market, we all heard that, okay, Python is growing a lot. If someone asks you that, okay, if you are a Python developer, it means you move to the new technology. Yes, that is true. But one thing is also true in the market, that people, or we can say industries, are not getting the person who is network specialist as well as who is Python specialist. So, and taking that consideration, we have built our course. So we will give a Python network automation from the scratch, all the Python structures from the syntax as well, we're gonna learn over here. And then we'll move towards how we can integrate that Python code with our network equipments. So that's it about me. Now let's move ahead. Like, what is network automation, right? So we all heard about that, okay, network automation is like, we all have to automate our network and all, but how and why it is needed in a market. So I'll tell you few things about network automation now. Let me bring my pen. So here, so first thing is we need network automation for our configuration. For our configuration. Now, what configuration I'm talking about? The configuration could be anything, guys. It could be, you can say that you need to configure a routes on a router. It could be anything. You need to configure any interface, any loopback, anything that you want to configure on the router. It's not specifically router. It could be any network equipment, right? So this is the first and foremost advantage of network automation. Second, you can monitor, right? We will see few example of the how you can monitor your network devices in the future slides. So this is what the second most popular advantage. Now, why the monitoring is popular? I'm saying that because we all knows that we have our monitoring tool. So most of the organization use SolarWinds for to monitor their network, right? So we have to, or industries need to pay, I can say, huge cost to the SolarWinds, right? So if we use Python for monitoring, you need to pay how much? You just need to pay 0, because Python is free of cost, right? We need to pay anything to the any monitoring tool to generate or to get any alerts for it. We can set a particular program that will give you the alerts. Let's say if you are working in a data center and the BGP links went down, what you're gonna do? The alert will gonna send it to your email directly with the help of Python. And the major part is, if we consider SolarWinds as a monitoring tool, whatever the alerts that you are getting, so in the SolarWinds, only root user can access that particular alert, or that your root user can modify that particular alert. But with the help of Python, you can change the type, the format, I can say the HTML code. I hope you understand about HTML code. Is like, it's just a way of representation. So you can you can user define that particular representation, that alert representation I'm talking about. So in this way, you can use this network automation for monitoring purpose. Now, third and foremost thing is testing. So guys, testing also includes, actually, I can say that monitoring plus testing. What I mean to say is, take an example of vulnerability in the network. So let's say if your client sent you a mail today, no, just check the versions of all the devices which is there in our data center, right? Make a list and then send it to me. What do you think that how much time you're gonna require to go each and every device, set it, show version, get that details? And if you have a list already, then you can, it could be possible that devices has been upgraded latest nowadays and all. Not talking about Meraki, because Meraki is like we already have a set of devices. I'm just talking about whatever devices which supports to the CLI right now. So we are moving towards that domain, and then we'll consider about that advanced switch network devices. So with the help of testing, let's take an example. If you need to deal with almost 1,000 devices in a data center, right? It could take, if you have distributed your work with your team, and your team can perform that work within like 50 minutes, or let's say 2 hours, right? But if you use this automation for monitoring and testing, guys, believe me, it will just take 10 minutes. If it is, and that too, it depends on the connection, because it's 1,000 devices. It could be possible that few of the routers or switches could face any difficulties while login or all. So considering that time, it will take only 10 minutes to get that report, right? So that is the magic of automation, right? So this is what the automation will do into our network eras nowadays. So now let's see the same example that I was talking about for monitoring, right? So let's consider that our this is what this is our let's consider that this is our switch, and in this switch we have BGP interfaces connected, right? Consider this is L3 switch, or consider the PE router, right? The PE device. So here we have integrate our interface, right? ISP interface. And you observe that this particular input errors are coming to the BGP interface, right? And due to that, your particular site is facing issues. So at that time, what usually used to do, a network engineer needs to jump to the P2 call, and then we have to bifurcate. We have to check, okay, which link is getting the error, right? And according to that, we have to take the decisions. But what if we integrate Python inside that? What we can do is, rather than using this input errors, rather than checking this input errors manually, what we can do is we can simply automate the script that if any of the if this interface gets more input errors, or you can say if the counters of this interface is too high, then automatically shut down the interface. So what will gonna happen if there is HA is configured, automatically the link will gonna go, this link will get shut down and the connection will move towards secondary router, right? So in this way, rather than checking it manually, you can integrate the Python, as well as after integrating, it will send you the email as well, right? That way you need to integrate that thing. You can customize whatever the syntax that you want. You can even customize what action that you need to do if this type of error will gonna occur in your network, right? Now let's move ahead. Now the second part, what we what is network automation we studied. Now let's see that why it is more why it is required in our network journey. Because since, like, I can say, last few years we all are using CLIs, right? Now we are moving to the Mirakeys, SD-WAN and all like of stuff. But in future, guys, we have to use this Python to integrate our network equipments. We have to use the automation, because in future days, no one will gonna log into device and no one will gonna configure any changes and all, right? So for that matter, how we can integrate this Python on
Hi, Dheeraj sir. Actually, I think we lost you.
Yeah, I think we lost. He is not.
Not an issue, not an issue. Let me just check. Okay.
forwarding to the clients. It could take more than an hour.
Dheeraj, just hold on for a minute.
Yep, sure.
So I have muted everyone now. Dheeraj, you can unmute yourself and you can start. There was somewhere we have missed you, so just start that particular slide from scratch. There was some outage actually in between. Dheeraj, just unmute yourself. Yeah, now just start from here. Yeah, thank you.
Cool, no issues. So let's come back to the previous slide, guys. So let's consider that this is our PE router or switch, right? And consider that this particular PE device has been connected to the ISP link, right? So in general case, if there are any input errors to this particular ISP link, what we used to do, we used to go to that device and we used to check each of the interface of that device, that which is active and which ISP it is connected to, and then further on, right? So that troubleshooting step that we are good in it. Now that time which required to log into the device and check the input errors, right? So nowadays it is a waste of time. What you can do is you can integrate Python inside this particular PE device and say Python or write a condition in the for that particular interface that if the error counters is too high, then automatically shut down that interface, right? So you can do your action according to your network, right? Or according to your client requirements. Whatever they want to, they're gonna suggest to you, you can do that. In this way, you can customize as well. So let's say I don't want to shut down. What I want to do is, like, if there are more input errors, I just need an email. I don't want to shut down my interface. So in this way, you can customize this particular Python code according to your use. Now let's move ahead. So why we require network automation, right? So network automation, as it's written over here, it's for network service availability. That whatever the availability, or we can say the support that we are giving to our clients, it will gonna improve. Why? Sorry, how? I'll tell you that. Let's consider any network engineers. Uh, we all are working 24/7, right? Now, if we integrate Python, believe me, guys, and so whatever the, let's say in for the network engineer, we all have to awake 24/7, because we could know, so we could not judge, or we could not think that issue could counter anytime, right? So for that reason, what we will do, if the issue counters, so automation can easy your process, right? Automation can be helpful for you to troubleshoot. It can be help you in the various way. Let's say for monitoring, for if you have to implement any change, you simply just write a code and simply hit that code to the device, right? Let's consider the code of switches, right? Let's say I upgrading the switches. So what we can do is, let's say if I need to upgrade one iOS version to the another iOS version, we all knows the long process, right? Take a approval for the specific time, and then send that image to the router or switch, and then after sending that image, then let's check the flash memory, everything that we all know, right? The network stuff. What you need to do is, you just need to integrate everything into the code now, and rather than sending that manually, send it by automation. So upgradation will gonna happen automatically, right? You no need to log into switch, no need to check the status of that switch. Now see, guys, automation is just for your help. To be frank, I'm telling you, it's just for your help. So if you think that, okay, if you implement automation, then network engineer's job will be in trouble, no, that will not going to happen. I'll tell you why. So automation is just for help of network engineers, because the automation doesn't know, or Python, to be frank, Python doesn't know how to troubleshoot the network. It's you guys, they know better that how to troubleshoot. If these things happen, what to do, that you guys. What Python will do, Python will just help you in the troubleshoot, right? I hope you guys are clear with my point now. Just give me a quick minute, I need to stop my automatic restart. Okay, cool. So that's what the that's why we are using automation. Now let's move ahead, and let's check what is the second major point that we need, right? So second major point that there is a need of automation is to avoid human errors, right? We all know we are human, and we could do the errors in the network. So live error is like, let's say if you need to upgrade the same, let's take the same example. If you need to upgrade two switches, right? Both has different versions, right? Let's say this could be anything. Let's say version 2, version 1, right? By mistake, rather than uploading version 2 to switch number 2, you have uploaded that image to version switch number 1, right? So it's not the exact same, but let's take as a human error, right? So this type of mistake you can avoid with the help of Python, right? You can create your code prior to sending to the device, right? You can create your lab, or you can create your Python file prior sending to the change, right? And believe me, the second advantage is like, let's say you need to upgrade 1,000 switches, you just need to create only one Python file, guys, because the link or the say the images, you just need to store that images in any of the folder of your system. So what your Python file will do, Python file will call this particular link, or you can say directory, and one by one image it will gonna match, and it will gonna send to that particular switch. So in this way you can upgrade your network. right? Now, the third thing is, let's say you need to configure a new switch from the scratch, right? We all know for what is the procedure of configuring the new switch from the scratch, guys. We just need to take the backup of first switch, and for the second, then we have to connect the new switch to the network, and we need to copy paste each and everything. And then during that copy paste, we also have to check that this command is getting correctly to the supported to the new switch or not. So this all type of stuff this Python is gonna handle. No need to log into the new switch, no need to take backup will gonna take within within one click. If you hit if you run your Python code, your whatever the backup of that particular old switch will be taken care. And main thing is, even though you can store that particular backup in any file, you can store in JSON, you can store in a text file, right? You can even store in Excel file, right? If someone asks you, let's take a quick data, whatever in our network, that should include the device name, IP address, version, and the entire show running directory of that particular switch. So in that way, you can just click your particular code, whatever you have, you guys wanna going to prepare, and you'll get that data automatically. You can even send the email to the particular person, right, after completion of that particular code, right? So in this way, automation will gonna help you guys. Now, this is a generic example, right? So like, even though L1 engineers used to do this, so you find this will be more reliable for you. Now let's consider that this is the user which is not able to access internet, right? He is facing some issues. Now let's consider that what he will do, he just contacted your NOC support, and NOC guys are troubleshooting this. Now, for reaching to this particular customer, guys, what will be the steps? Let's say I'll take the IP address, or rather than IP address, I'll take a MAC address of this customer, and I'll try to locate that MAC address from the nearest switch, right? So then I'll get to know, okay, it's on G10 of another neighbor. Then again, what I'll do, I'll log into this switch, and then I got to know, okay, this particular switch, this particular customer is connected to port number 15 of this interface, right? So guys, here nowadays it's a waste of time, right? Why? Because if you integrate the everything with Python, no, sorry guys, give me a sec. So if you integrate this everything with Python, what you can do is, whenever this customer will goes down, you will automatically get alert with your user, what I can say, with your user message, whatever message that you need to send to that email or alert, right? So the time will gonna save, and according to that, you can check the troubleshoot. That's what I said, right? It will, Python automation will just help you to do your troubleshoot, right? And then you can, according to that, you can check it is port security issues or any port issues, whatever it is, right? So in this way, you can automate your troubleshooting task. Now let's move ahead. So this is the slide from Cisco, guys. What Cisco says about network automation, let's have a look. So we all knows that up to 90% of network changes today are done manually. Obviously, that we here in our network as well, here in our network industry, we all are doing network changes manually only, right? We are not dealing with, right now only few industries are there, including Cisco, that they are using automations nowadays. Now the manual change leads to the configuration errors and inconsistency in the network. So guys, we have seen that this could be the human errors, right? So we all are facing human errors nowadays because there could be inconsistency in the network. Now let's consider that you have a huge data center, and if you're adding more dependencies on the data center, now guys, it means that we are expanding our network equipments. So yes, it could be problematic in future, obviously, because managing more devices manually could be problematic in future, right? So, and the last thing is network downtime and the non-remote troubleshoot time are decremental. What is meant by that? So the best example for this is, let's consider that today you observed that BGP link is down, right? Means your network is down, your backup is not working as well. So there will be P1 case. We being a network engineer, you just need to jump to that P1 case and try to troubleshoot the issue. Now we all know there is a certain tat for the reply or response from our side, right? And by, let's say that it could take time to log into the device and then check the history of that interface, or check any error, check any routes. Everything will take time, right? So in this way, what the network downtime or route remote troubleshooting will gonna help you is, if any of the thing that the coding that you did for, let's say, usually what I used to do in my network is, like, being a network engineer, network automation engineer, what I used to do is, whatever the edge routers and switches that I have, I used to put my automation scripts on that routers, right? Routers in the sense, I'll not going to save my script into that routers or in the TCAM, right? So I'll used to write my script. I just used to call that particular switch or router, and I used to get the information, right? So in the background, this will gonna work. So in this way, we can save the time required for troubleshooting. Now let's move ahead. So I believe that why network automation, what is network automation, has been covered now, and I hope that you understood. If it is not, we'll see in our live class as well. Why it is and why it is growing, how it is growing in the industry, and what are the next steps that we need to learn. Now, something about Python I'd like to explain you guys. So Python has been developed by Guido van Rossum in 1991 only. So guys, see this year. It is, so always keep in mind that we are learning Python in 2022. Right? It has been developed in 1991 only, although it has been popular in 2006. But nowadays we are learning Python. So you can observe that where you are now in the market. Now, yeah, that's fine that it has been developed in 1991 and it isn't popular in 2006. But if you heard, most of the people has heard Python name since last 2-3 years. Why? I'll tell you the reason. Google has announced that they will gonna use Python for all their backend services. And we all knows that if the biggest organization is using Python, the craze of that language will gonna increase further, right? This is just a theory that it is available on the web, guys. So if you have another, it could be possible, right? So that is what the theory behind is, that nowadays, or now in this last 5 years, Python has been more like hotcake in a market. So these are the organizations right away that are using Python in the background. That's it. So let's talk about advantage. If you think that, okay, there are a lot of language in the market, right? C, C++, Java, .NET, Oracle, lot of languages that has like that is there in the market. Why we are learning Python? So these are the advantage of the Python. Now the biggest advantage is, guys, easy to learn, right? I hope that if you remember your college days, that we all were learning C programming, right? So we need to remember the syntax and everything. If there is any, let's say, if you need to print something, you need to write at least 5-6 lines of code to just print one single line and all. So guys, Python is interactive shell, and it's easy to begin with the simple scripts. So what I mean by that is, let's say Python says that if you need to print only one thing, rather than writing 6-7 things, just write only one line. It's simple as that, right? You can compare Python and English as simple as we can compare. I'll tell you how we can compare. Like, both are I cannot say that 100% similar, but yes, it is like pretty much similar to it. Now Python has extensive libraries. So libraries means the modules that we had discussed in our first slide, right, guys? When we see the difference between Python developers and Python network developers. Now, what is modules or libraries is a set of codes, right? Like App Store, I told you the example of the application, right? We all are using our Play Store or App Store for the same. Now, again, the major part of this library is we can convert our output. That point is also covered in our demo session, that we can get that particular details in any of the file format. It could be TXT, it could be Excel, it could be JSON, right? So in this way, according to that, you can move your output. And one major advantage for this. So those who really want to switch their careers in Python and network, after that, you can even learn data science. So guys, believe me, the libraries of the data science depends on the Python. So if someone of us is aware of the data science, I hope that you understand this point. MATLAB lib and NumPy, pandas, everything has been dependent on Python. So Python is a key now to learn or to groom yourself for the network. Now that's what I was just telling about the difference between Java and Python, right? So you can see guys here in the Java, just printing hello, this message, right? We have to write how many lines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines, right? Just print only single message. And here in Python, you just need to write only single line. I'll tell you why this is different and why this is different in the next slide. Only single line, you just need to print for one line. And that is why the Python is fast. Second, it is integrated. It is easy. It can be easily integrated. We can easily integrate the Python with our network equipments, right? And as it is fast, and it will gonna work smoothly with our network equipments, because we need a result as soon as possible. Now let's move ahead with another slides. Okay, now Python has two versions, guys. So first, when the Python has been invented, the Python invented in version number 2.0, you can say. And nowadays we all are using 3.0, which is the latest version, right? So in our class, so so that's what I was telling to you in the previous slide. So see, what is the difference between two versions are just few syntax has been changed in the version 3. So this particular command is from version 2.0 and this particular command is version 3.0. So being a network engineer, I believe that we all has to be updated, right? Rather than using the previous version. So hence in our class, what we are using is I'll tell you what we are using. Here we are using Python version 3.0 version, right? So there are multiple sub versions as well, guys. So Python used to implement the sub versions of 3.10 or 3.11 has been now in the market. You can download it easily. That we'll see in our live class how to download it, right? This is the first thing. Now second, IDE, right? What is IDE? So guys, IDE is a integrated development environment. What is meant by that is it is just a what you can say intermediate application which will gonna connect to your network equipment with the Python code, right? So this is the just application which will gonna help you to connect with our network equipments. That's it. Now there are multiple IDEs in the market. You can even use VS Code. You can use Notepad++. I believe that these are the name is familiar to you. Third is PyCharm, right? Fourth, even though you can use your Notepad as well, right? But in our class, we are going to use a PyCharm because PyCharm is very much compatible with Python as well as with network equipments. You can use VS Code as well. Who is from the coding background, they can use their own IDE, whatever they like. Now, third major part is, now we have studied Python version, we have studied IDE. Now major part is where we are going to send this command to, right? We are going to integrate our automation. So we are using GNS3 and EVNG both, right? Now what are the system requirements? If you have at least 4 GB of RAM, you can always move with GNS3. If you have more than that, you can always move with EVNG. Right? These are the simple and basic prerequisites of the labs. Now, here in our lab, I'm gonna take all of this, like not all of these instances. I'm gonna take both of this. For few labs, we're gonna consider GNS3. For few labs, we're gonna consider EVNG, right? So even though what we have a separate class for setup, right? Now you could be like, the question will gonna arise to your mind that, okay, will we be getting the access of the devices or labs to use it? So straightforward answer is no. Why? I'll tell you. See, right now, if you're enrolling for the classes, guys, I believe after class ends, right, after an year or after 2 years, if you need anything to use in your local environment, or let's say if you need to use something in your something for your own use, at that time it could be possible that this access and all, it could not work, right? For that, what I suggest is create your own lab, right? Create everything by your own. But how you're gonna create it, that's what I'm here to tell you, that how you can set up your lab, right? We have a separate class for setting up the lab. So you will have your own lab. You can test any, there will be no restrictions with you to test anything on their lab, right? This is what the second answer is. Now, what about the images? What about the setup and all? Don't worry about it. It's just a cup of tea task for you and me as well, right? I'll share you every document, every images, every setup with license. Don't worry about it. So that's what about the entire flow of our session. Now just let's quickly move towards syllabus, guys, and I'll tell you how much that we are gonna cover into this class. Let me open the syllabus within a minute. I'll just open it. Give me a sec. And then we'll take the questions and answer for you guys. Give me oh, yep. Cool. So guys, we have 4 modules for you, right? So just for understanding, don't be hesitant. What are these modules? Is it that Python and all? Just for your understanding, we have converted, or we have separated the topics into 4 different modules. Now I'll tell you from the scratch, what are this module, what is that, what are these modules include. A sec. Think I need to reopen the Excel, guys. Give me a sec. Yeah, so meanwhile that Excel will open, I'll tell you here only. That's fine. So we have 4 modules. What these 4 modules consider? The first module is the basic Python module. Basic Python module. Now in this module, we are going to consider each and everything from the scratch, right? Now, let me open. So you'll get the holistic idea about what is it. Okay. Let me quit and I'll reopen this for you guys. Don't worry, technical errors may happen. Okay, that's fine. I hope you guys can see this. Okay, so here I was talking about this module 1, module 2, and everything, right? Guys, I'm audible. SI guys,
Yes,
can
you are. Yes, you are. Please go ahead.
You are.
yeah.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes.
thank you. So this what the module one is setted about. So module one, in the module one, we are going to cover entire overview of Python, right?
Please
I think,
increase the size little bit of these Excel so
yeah,
everyone
definitely.
can view properly. Thank you.
I believe it's visible for you all now. Okay. So here we are going to consider module one. In the module one, why Python? What is the, like, I think most of the part we have covered today, but if anyone need, uh, I'll definitely happy to repeat that part. Now, second part will be installation, right? Will tell you how to install Python, how to install PyCharm, what are the links, which module should be installed, right? Everything we're gonna cover in our first or second classes. Now, then we'll start with our major part of data types. Then what are the different data types? What are the different operators? What is meant by strings? What is string slicing, right? And guys, see it. If you think that okay, this is the syllabus that we have guided over here, it is same for junior Python developers, right? But here we are taking in, like I can say 70% of syllabus which you're gonna get in the Python developers class as well, right? I have just added few more advanced topics as well. So here, so you guys will get the holistic idea about entire Python, right? Okay, let's move ahead. So here then we'll move with the modules. What is functions? So guys, if you learn functions, believe me, like you are going to be a Python expert for at least for 40%, because functions will be used in each and every automation scripts, right? You have to use the functions. Then where we have to, let's say, we all know that there could be multiple devices that we have, right? It should not be one, it should not be two, there could be multiple, right? So for those, how to call or how to save that multiple devices, for there we used to learn this list, tuple, dictionaries and all. Then we'll move towards the operators, conditional operators. We have seen that condition, right? If the interface is this, then do this. If not, then do that. So that will comes under this part, right? If statement, if else statements, and then we're gonna cover that. Now we all heard about loops, right? So loops is like if we need to iterate one thing again and again, then we're gonna cover that loops, as well as we're gonna handle the files. So I told you we can take the output from any of the device in any of the file. But what if we need to read any output from that file? In that way, we can use this file handling. Exception handling. Exception handling means like, let's say if you're writing something and if you face any error, right? And if you send a script to your client and the script has some errors in it, so your client will not going to understand that error because he is not a Python expert, right? Now, how to handle such exceptions and bring some useful message for the user, that will gonna comes under exception handling. Now the last part is API. So here we're gonna learn what is API, how we can automate our security equipments with the help of API. It could be Palo Alto, it could be the, so basically we are considering the Palo Alto in this class. Why? Because right now it's good in the it's like hotcake in the market, as well as it supports API, right? And for those equipment who doesn't support API, just like our ASA firewall, we have included that particular ASA firewall into our network automation, right? So here in this course, you will get both the things. You'll get API as well as you will get this Python course. Now let's move ahead with module number 2. Now, guys, we have module number 2 to give you idea about network automation. So I told you about modules, right? Modules. What are those modules? So I will gonna take 4 modules for you, which is very important for network automation. So first we're gonna start with telnetlib, right? Second, we have Paramiko. Third, we have Netmiko. Fourth, we have NAPALM, which is advanced library nowadays, right? So We're gonna take this all 4 libraries, which is the major part. Then we'll come with 5th one, which is multi-threading, right? And the Excel handling. Because if someone asks you, just give me the report of that. For that case, you just need to know what is Excel, right? And if you know Excel, you need to know how you can handle that Excel with the help of Python. So we will see all the integration, what is multi-threading, why multi-threading is required, everything in the module number 2. And each module includes almost 12, 13 lab with 2 or 1 advanced lab. So what this advanced lab does, guys? So inside this advanced lab, we have collaborated every advanced thing we can do for this particular device, right? So that we're gonna learn in our live session of module 2. Let's move ahead. Module 3 is basically for ASA. So how you can integrate the ASA with Netmiko, then how you can send or fetch details from ASA firewall. It totally depends on your module number 4. Now, module number 3, my bad, for ASA. Let's move to module number 4 is Palo Alto. So guys, see, if you heard name API, it doesn't mean API single topic. No, there are 3 major topics in the API. First, XML, JSON, and the Python. So here I can even give you the Python content, but I wanted you to know XML as well as JSON as well, because in future, if someone asks you that, okay, I need this thing, and if you know that rather than using Python, I can get the details quickly with the help of XML. So you will be in the better state to decide what particular module should you use. So here as well, I have considered all the 3 parts or the 3 patterns of the Palo Alto as well. So that's it about our network syllabus that we are giving over here. Now, that's it from my end. I think we are open for the questions. I believe, SI guys, you can unmute the participants. So if they have questions, they can ask to us.
Yes, sure. Let me just do that. Yeah, so guys, now you have the mute permissions. If you have any questions, you can ask basically.
Yeah, hi, Emo. I have only one question, which I mean that this is related to something real industry question. As you initially